There we go. Now it's being recorded. All right. So I am going to work on some foundational concepts of lead generation and some brainstorming of ideas on what sort of channels you should have. And then Julie's going to take all of those channels and give us her amazing anchor method on basically creating leads out of thin air through whatever channel, especially open houses, that you want to use. So if lead generation is a struggle, which is pretty much all of us that breathe, then let's come up with some ideas and work together. So as we evaluate lead generation, there's going to be multiple ways to do it, right? There's going to be, how much money is it going to cost you? There's free ones and there's not free ones. There's ones that take lots of skill and there's ones that like any idiot can put together. Oftentimes it's going to be a balance of those different things, you know, like am I going to spend time or am I going to spend money? And how quickly then are those going to turn over? They may turn over quickly, or you may be investing in the long game. So tell me, let's just brainstorm to start. Which lead generation channels are you guys' favorites and most effective? Cold calling. Okay, we got a cold caller. What else do people do? Referrals. Absolutely.
That's the best.
If you are investing in it, and then it can be your lead gen. Absolutely. What do you do, Rodney? What do you do, Rodney? Everything. Okay. What was that? Text messages. All right. Mandeep?
Social media.
Social media. Who else has got a lead gen? Jana, what do you do?
Primarily my database and SOI.
Database and SOI. How about you, Kevin? What's your favorite?
I try to find the deal before I find anything else.
Find the deal before you find everything else. So you like,
Bring a good deal.
okay. Good. So he said he finds a good deal and then he creates all the rest around it.
Call it reverse lead generation.
Yeah.
Wholesale.
Yeah.
Yes. Is always the volume on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably can turn this one off because we're not standing up because the front. All right. All right. So I don't know what they're seeing now, but that's okay. Oh, I probably need to screen share.
We're seeing
for
you.
So I probably need to screen share on the Zoom. Sorry, I'm used to doing this all from my computer at the same time. It's different when you're trying to do live and not live at the same time. All right.
It's screen sharing now.
All right. So where do your leads that you're generating fall on the scale? Are you guys focused on spending time or money? Focused on things that are high skill or low skill? Like this is interactive. Like
High skill, low skill.
how are you building your referral? How are you building referral leads as your referral source? Well, are you, do you have a highly defined system that you're using where you are automating it, systematizing it, and you're getting better? And as you are gaining skills, you're tracking your numbers and you see that your closing is better? Or are you just helter-skelter, like I'm gonna just, you know, throw a couple business cards at some people and hope that they come through? Because part of knowing that your lead generation is effective is through tracking, right? You should know your numbers. You should know, how many people do I need to talk to before I get an appointment? How many appointments do I need to have before I get a contract? And how likely are my contracts to close? Because then all of lead generation becomes a numbers game, right? How many cold calls do you know how many cold calls you have to make to talk to somebody usually? How many times do you dial the phone to get a person?
Usually 1 in 10.
So 1 in 10. Yeah. So 1 in 10 is maybe a good conversation, but not necessarily. It still might be a conversation. Yeah, a conversation. Absolutely, absolutely. So then how many conversations are you having before you get like a lead on average? Do you have any idea?
The way I have it set up right now is, my cold callers send me, they send me, 3 leads a day, once I.
So you got callers and then you follow through on your, on
Yeah,
the
once I talk
leads.
to those people, should I receive a second positive response? Then I consider them as a lead.
Okay, so Andre's got more of a system here, right? He's not just like spending all day long dialing the phone and not getting answered. He's got a system where he's got people that he's hired that are making these calls for him. They're trying to turn that over. That's what I did for Seattle Investors Club for a while. I was their caller. I'd call and set the appointments and then they'd go do the appointments. So he has used skill building in order to have a better turnover rate and use his time more effectively. Where you could spend all day long making those 9 calls that don't answer, or you can follow up on the 1 call, the 10% that actually wants to talk to somebody, or the 5% that actually wants to talk to somebody from that. Kevin, did you have your hand up for something? So what else, what other lead gen systems are going to be skill-based versus just get it done? Paid or which? Yeah, like it doesn't take skills to hire Zillow. Like that's not hard. But if you're paying Zillow, you better be tracking your conversion rate and know that it's worth paying Zillow. Like if you're paying them X amount per lead and you only convert 3% of them, you're wasting a lot of money. And by tracking your numbers, you can see where your skills, like my mentees all have spreadsheets that they usually don't use because, 90% of agents fail before their first renewal and they don't do the work. But if you know how many calls you make, you know how many appointments that is, like if you make 47 appointments and you get 2 contracts, your appointments are screwed up. Like I can tell you, your appointments are where you're having trouble. If you can't get an appointment to save your life, it's your first conversations that need fixed. So by tracking your numbers, you know where your skills are lacking. Does that make sense? And if you don't track your numbers, you're like, nobody's let me list their house. Okay, well, how many people did you talk to? I don't know. I talked to grandma. Okay, well, you've got to be more systematic than that. So here is a list of a whole bunch of lead gen ideas. You guys, if you've got a piece of paper, think about where on a piece of paper all of these would fit. And this is a, there's no right or wrong answer here, right? Like as far as when things are going to pop and when they're going to work, as far as if it's now or later, that's going to vary. And I can make it, everybody can have these slides without a problem.
So what are you asking us to do to
Put the numbers on the chart. Where do you think they're going to go? Who wants to tell me where they would put a number on the chart? It is a free and it's now. Why is it free and now?
variety of different platforms, it's now because they've already raised their hand. So,
Yeah, absolutely. How about starting a podcast? Yeah, it's going to cost some money, right? It's not necessarily the most expensive thing to start, but it's going to cost something. But it's probably going to take longer to build enough reputation that it's going to turn into something. How about hosting buyer and seller classes? Yeah, you can do them for free basically, unless, depending on what sort of food and stuff you're buying. If you're buying a lot of food, you can make it a big deal. If you're doing wine night, you can make it expensive, but you can control the expenses, right? You can decide what your budget is on doing buyer and seller classes. And then you've got people who are raising their hand. They're interested in buying or selling. Were you the one that did the class at AIA just recently? Who was in on the class? I don't think any of them are here. AIA, they just hosted a seller class and they were showing me the videos and they had like 30 people in the room. showed up because they wanted to know about buying and selling houses. Anybody certified with the Washington Housing for the down payment assistance programs? So you can, like, you have to be certified with Washington Housing to do their down payment assistance classes. Whether it's a great lead source is going to depend on how well you work it, right? If you're only, I tend to host classes when I have a couple of clients that want it. So does that make it a great lead gen source for me? No, it's more of a relationship builder. They can use you, they just don't have to use you. So if they come in and they're someone else's client, then they're not my client, and that's fine. But they can choose to use you, absolutely. And that's what I've got under more, we'll talk about that more in a little bit, but like that's networking and working with people within the industry. So I've got kind of where I stuck everything just to have an idea. So we've got lead gen things all over the map here, right? As far as if you are hiring billboards or shopping cart signs or grocery store dividers, that's probably going to take a while to pay off. But it's going to cost you some money. Where relocation, EXP has a relocation department where you can get certified with their relocation. It's going to cost you money. You're going to pay a referral fee on every lead, but they're a pretty good lead, right? I haven't tried both, so it would be one of those things where you have to track your numbers and your expenses. So, all of these is going to have to do with your skills. But yeah, absolutely. I love your
guaranteed transactions.
they are
But
guaranteed.
you're split.
You're going to pay
It's like a 50-50 split.
you're going to pay a hefty referral fee, but if a business is paying somebody to relocate, they often require you to use their agents, basically. So it's a guaranteed deal when you get it, like 50-50. But you're not doing any, you're just waiting for those leads to come in. So it's up to you. You could do the work. When you get a lead, what Julie's saying for Zoom is you use that to build more leads. You use that to generate more listings. And all of these, the effectiveness depends on how well you work it. Julie's going to talk about open houses, right? You've all probably attended an open house where the guy sat there on his phone and like said, "Oh yeah, look around." Is that an effective lead generation technique for that guy? No. Like no neighbor's going to come in the house and be like, "That's the guy I want listing my house." Like, and that's what you're looking for, right? I've had people come in a house and buy it on an open house, but I'm looking for listing leads at least as much as I am buyer leads. And that's Julie's going to talk a lot more about these kind of things coming up. But, are you door knocking? Are you proactive? Are you making it a good experience? Are you engaging with everybody and finding out what their needs are, who they know, how you can help them? It's a much more, and that's where skills come in.
That is free lead generation, not free, so you don't have to pay like marketing fee or some sort of finder's fee to but partnering up other people who generate leads. Something like a pay at close or a location, right? You partner with mortgage people or whatever it might be, that's a great source of leads. I have a partner, they spend tons of money, they're an investor type, they spend tons of money marketing all their deals, basically. I either help them close it as an investor deal out of the gate, and I get, if they review their deal. Who's already doing? Like Lisa, who's a home inspector, right? That's a great. Right, so.
Here's some business networking ideas, like who you should be spending your time with. What channels are you focusing on? Probate attorneys. Like take a probate attorney out to lunch once a week. Like, how about divorce attorneys, estate sale people, tradesmen, carpenter, plumber, whatever, electrician. Get involved in your Rotary or your Chamber of Commerce. How about senior centers or senior living centers, the people who do their intake, and their interviews? Like these are the friends that you should be putting time into getting to know. CPAs and accountants, they know who's got extra money and is ready for their next investment property. They're not going to tell you that, like there's confidentiality issues, obviously, but if you're the person in the front of their mind when those people are looking for a relationship and an agent, like you want to be that person. Mortgage, of course, inspectors, escrow. Like who else are your valued relationships as far as business networking? Who did I miss? Nobody has a valued business relationship besides what's on here. Contractors, yep. Tradesmen, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and that's, sphere of influence is a whole nother list, right? Like who do you know, and how are you building those relationships? I've gotten leads at the dump. Like you look like you're clearing out somebody's house, and they were, like you've got to be aware of what's going on, and you've got to be willing to talk, because secret agents don't sell houses. So if you're not willing to talk to anybody, you're not going to do that. But most of my clients right now, like I'm not huge production. You guys know, I spend more time mentoring and teaching you guys about EXP than I'm doing huge production myself, because I do all sorts of crazy, weird things with my kids because we have a farm. So I spend my time at speech and debate tournaments, at rabbit shows, at goat sales, at 4-H meetings. So those are my clients, right? All of those people come to me. I know the farm that they want. I know what kind of building they want for their 47 rabbits. And you probably don't. So they come to me, so that's where I do mine. Most of my business is through sphere of influence, through the things I like to do and where I want to be, right? So the gym, kids activities, hobbies, church, like where are you building relationships with people that your sphere of influence is, can be key to building your business. Now, I have more that I will touch on at the end, but I'm going to let Julie do her thing, because I know sometimes she talks twice as long as she thinks she will. And so I'm going to let her take over, and then I can come back at the end, and I'm going to talk a little bit about fast cap and some other things that are available at the end also.
Yeah, we'll put them in a Google Drive.
About the handouts. Yeah, we're just doing some switch out. People are going to get their handouts. And if you,
Oh. Yeah. Oh.
and those of you on Zoom who are going to want this, we're going to have you email us, and we will get it to you in a bit.
Together that 4-quadrant chart right there, that's.
Yeah.
Be cool.
Can you, how many people are on Zoom?
Yeah, just a couple.
Okay. Who are they? Do we know who it is?
I think Rami and Jaina. Jaina's here, so
Mark,
just,
must be Mark.
yeah, Mark. Rami's mine. I was trying to, but it's, yeah. Sometimes there's a lot to repeat. Yeah, we're trying to repeat. I know it's hard. Yeah, I made that chart, Neil. Hey, you guys want to hear my most embarrassing moment that happened this week that I didn't even know happened until my daughter told me last night? So I tour new agents through EXP World on a regular basis to show them how it works. And I had this agent from California that I was showing around. And I like went into their auditorium and showed him the California auditorium and went up on the stage and was telling him how the stage worked. And evidently I just left myself there and I didn't log out. And my daughter's like, later, all of a sudden the computer started talking and we looked at it and there was a meeting happening in the auditorium and you were just standing on the stage in the middle of their meeting. So she just like walked my avatar out the back door and turned it off because Bethany's heard more training meetings than just about anybody and knew how to do it. It was really funny.
Cut it up and there were like these birds. House and it was.
She's like, they didn't say anything as you left their meeting. So that was funny.
Okay, guys. So first of all, since I'm up, let's see if I can start this thing. Show. Okay, look at that.
Can you move that bar up a little bit?
Move the bar up.
There you go. Thank you.
Does this work?
Not doing.
How does this work?
On the right side is how you. On the right.
Put my
On that.
clicker on the right side. I'm trying to use this thing. I don't know. He was testing it.
Okay, your arrow.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about lead generation. So I don't know. Would you guys agree? There's so many topics that we can talk about that actually don't mean shit unless we have leads. So in my opinion, this first quarter as a group and, collaborative community, we should be focused on lead generation and lead conversion because nothing else really. Am I sharing?
You screen sharing. Okay,
I
this is
thought-
what's coming up on my side.
Maybe not. Maybe you gotta go back and screen share again.
Then stop share. There we go. Now go down and click.
Pick your thing.
Working?
Okay, now it's working.
Okay, look at that. My God, I'm gonna buy a lottery ticket because it's a miracle that I actually just got that right. So, first of all, I want to give props to Joanna. If you guys have seen, I'm like a brain dump person, right? I'm a wordy, I'm gonna talk too much. And that's the way it goes. That's why you're stuck with me that way. And I want to give props to Joanna, my right hand, all the time, that she took my lengthy, wordy shit and threw it in what app?
Gamma.app.
Gamma.app. Everybody write that down. Gamma.app. So I'd written out all this stuff. Joanna literally took it, threw it in Gamma.app, and it produced this delightful presentation. Okay. So AI is here to stay. So it's not very long today, which is amazing. Here's the agenda we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about types of lead generation. Again, a little bit like what Melanie talked about. What I'm interested in talking to you guys about is we all know there's long-term nurturing. There's all these things we can do. We saw the whole chart, right? But how the frick do we get business going now? Right? We need to get business going now. You're always going to want to do the long-term stuff, pick your poison, what you enjoy. But I want to focus on how do we get business right now, right? So then we can go talk about how to convert those leads, okay? So we're gonna talk about types of leads, the fastest way to generate leads, and what we call our VIP no-cost lead generation system, okay? VIP this is called the VIP education community, if you're not been here. We are a group of solo agents, maybe a team here or there, but we're just here to collaborate and share, and we are here the second and fourth Wednesday of every month from 11 to 1, and you're all welcome to join us. And you can invite anybody that you want, and we hold nothing back. We share everything. But we also are a formal community that we have all kinds of training and, you know, help each other out on the daily, lots of coaching, lots of investor coaching, new build, luxury, multifamily, commercial, you name it, we cover it, okay? And it's no cost of our community. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This is what we're not going to talk about today. We're not going to talk about organic lead generation, which is like social media, YouTube, LinkedIn. I threw networking in there. We're not going to talk about how to run your own ads. Joanna here can teach all of you guys to run your own ads. And that's maybe what I want to do at the end here is figure out what do we want this next class to be after we talk about this, because we need to generate some leads. We have an ongoing weekly Modern Agent Mastermind hosted by Joanna and I on Tuesdays from 2 to 3 p.m. on Zoom that is going to teach you how to convert leads. So the good news is if you're hanging with us, you can get any type of lead and you have a safety net and a collaboration partner to help you convert the lead. You just got to get through the work to get the lead, okay? And then you don't have to worry about, we're going to get you covered the rest of the way. So we're not going to talk about running ads today. These are things that you all need to start learning about, okay? And we can pick, like I said, which ones we want to focus on over the weeks. Online presence, like Google Business Profile, LinkedIn Profile Optimization. Joanna ran that class too, right? I don't know if you guys were here for that, but it's super rad. Follow-up systems. We're not going to talk about that today, but email marketing, drip campaigns, cold calling, how to use your CRM. We can talk about that at another day. So keep your eyes peeled here for things that you think you want to have classes about in the future. We're also, oh, here we go. This is what we are going to talk about. Types of lead generation, okay? There is upfront lead generation, right? That's lead generation companies and running your own ads. If you run your own ads, you got to pay for them upfront. If you're running Google ads, Facebook ads, you are paying for that as you go, right? Lead generation companies, we're going to cover some of those. Pay at close, that's when you pay a company a referral fee when you close, pay out of your commission, right? We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Sphere of influence, we all know what that is. Traditional real estate 101, which is great. We all need to be constantly, you know, it's a lifestyle business that we're in. So friends, family members, past clients, right? Some of you dislike tapping into your friends and family members, maybe find that cheesy or whatever. You know how you fix that? You just make sure that you're, as Melanie was calling it, not a silent agent, that you always have a way. You know, I could be kicking it on the playground and be like, oh man, just drop a little on something to do with real estate. And everybody loves real estate. Everybody wants free advice about real estate. They will start asking you your questions. Then you're now the person that, you know, is in that little circle of whatever you're doing, whether it's the sports team, the mom at school, you know, the snowboard crowd, the motorcycle gang, like, you know, Gordon here, right? You know, all that kind of stuff. So farming and cold calls, that's operating characteristics of marketing calls, door knocking. I would say, you know, what Kevin was talking about is like farming. He's looking for certain types of deals. Is that right, Kevin? And then once he has that certain type of deal, he's going to call his investor clients or whoever's the best fit, or maybe he'll list it, right? I would call that farming. There could be farming certain neighborhoods, right? Where you're like, you know what? I live in West Seattle. I'm going to do all my business, all my calls, all my marketing targeted in West Seattle. Or it could be, I'm looking for duplexes and triplexes or homes that have big backyards so I can DADU or ADU it up. Okay. Types of lead generation, organic leads. Did we already do this page? Okay. let's see.
I
I didn't. Okay, so organic leads, right? Social media, YouTube, LinkedIn, networking. Our VIP lead generation system, which we're going to talk about today, which is centered around warm calls and networking with other agents, open houses. We're going to deep dive on that a little bit today. You know, online presence, open houses, right? These are all types of lead generation. So, you know, take a look real quick here, because what you're going to have to do is pick your poison, right? You can be somebody at your choice. You can have a line in every stream, or you can pick what you think you're going to be, that you enjoy and that you're going to be consistent about. But you're going to need to pick a few of these. Some long-term, some more short-term. Types of faster lead generation. This is what I want to talk about today. Because who wants leads now? We all know, like, oh, I can talk to everybody, and, you know, who wants leads right now? Okay. This is, in my opinion, again, we're all here open to give our other opinions, but the fastest types of lead generation, in my opinion, are paid upfront, right? So you're going to use a lead generation company. You might pay a monthly amount, and they're going to send you leads, right? It might be $400 to $4,000, right? It might be something like Zillow or ZBuyer or whatever. We'll look at some of those companies. Pay at close. You're going to pay that percentage when you close out of your commission. Could be 30 to 50%. 50% more on the delivered straight up to you type of lead, like the relocation, or if you're on a team, maybe, or 30% is more of
Realtor.com is offsetting.
Agent to agent.
yeah, Realtor.com, I don't
Relocation.
think has one of those, but it's, yeah, we're gonna cover what some of those pay at close companies are. And then open house and VIP leads, right? Open houses can be immediate leads. If you don't have any money and you're just getting started and you don't have a lot of experience, you should be doing open houses, right? Because it gives you experience. You'll start to learn your flow and so forth. But in my opinion, these ways here are the fastest way to generate leads. Does anybody else have? Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Any other ideas here? Aren't my slides nice today? Just not too wordy. I know I'm wordy. Okay. Paid upfront lead generation resources. What are those? Right? Because we're talking about it's my dad. Paid upfront lead generation. You can run your own Facebook and Google ads. Okay. Facebook ads, you need to have a lot of them. I'd say they're the lowest quality lead type, right? But hell yeah, it works. Especially if you're hanging out with Joanna and you are getting good lead magnets down and stuff like that. Really, really, it can work. Because you're just getting a lot of people just click baiters, click. They, you know, you got to make sure when you're running those types of ads, which we're not going to go deep dive on today, that you're qualifying those leads, that they're not just putting their name in and you get a lead. You're going to want to ask them questions like, are you just curious? Are you thinking about selling in 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, and that kind of thing on your opt-in form for those types of leads. I think the PPC, Google ad and PPC are today leads, in my opinion. Those are higher quality leads. It's like a Google ad, pay-per-click. Pay-per-click. So that means that, you look on Google and you see the ads on Google, the top part, those are all ads. So someone goes into Google and types in sell my house fast or something like that. Go ahead, Matt.
What do you have to spend finding for people to get a good lead from you?
I think you can spend $400 a month.
$400 a month, how much is a lead? What do you think is a fair price for a lead? For when you get this thing?
Well, it depends on your skills in converting leads.
And depends on your lead source, PPC versus PPL versus
I would
Zillow.
Because I look at Zillow.
That's
Well,
right.
So how much are you paying if you pay a 25% referral fee for someone to give you a lead?
You gotta break down the number.
A lot more than $1,000.
I mean, I would not be paying Zillow for one lead for $1,000, right? I mean, Zillow are high quality leads. But you gotta be able to convert those leads because you're not the only one getting those leads. I don't know, because I don't buy Zillow leads. So maybe they have certain programs, right, for that. It might be great for a couple people to get together and share those leads, right?
You're gonna
for
wanna
something like that.
consider the area you're buying those leads in too, because if you're looking at a good lead in Medina for $1,000, that's gonna be a good paycheck. If you're looking
That's
for
a
a good lead,
$10,000 lead.
yeah, if you're looking for a good lead in, Granite Falls for $1,000, that's not a good deal. So that's gonna make a difference too. Your ROI, how much are you spending, how much are you making?
I mean, you hang with somebody that does a lot of Zillow lead generation, right? So what I suggest that you do is you get with that person, and that would be interesting for you to share with us, and find out what the conversion ratios are and come back and tell us. Meaning they spend X amount, that person probably spends a lot. And how many deals are they getting a month? In what location? You could find that out and share it with us, right?
I mean, no.
What is it?
8,000-9,000. In my experience, the bills.
So they're spending 8,000 to 9,000.
You like call and the last month is slow. I'm experiencing at least 2 calls per month.
For 8,000 or 9,000, 2 calls per month?
But we also receive leads through the app.
You're saying you get live transfers, and you also just get some into your Zillow database, right? And then it's the speed to lead type of situation, right? So, I don't want to deep dive on that today, but the point being is that what I'm trying to point out today is that you're getting immediate leads, right? You're not having to do anything, you're paying for leads. The fastest way to get leads is either pay for it yourself, run your own ads, or use a real estate platform like Zillow, Realtor.com, or I'm at eXp, and there's a Make It Rain platform in there where you pay them, probably $500 a month, and they will run Google ads and Facebook ads for you. Now, if you do it yourself, if Joanna teaches you how to do it, and you do it yourself, the cost is going to be half. Versus
So
when
you're gonna spend the time instead of the money.
but once she teaches it,
It
it's
gets
not
better,
that much time.
As you gain the skill, the time goes down.
Right, exactly. So, again, back to the point, we're trying to get today leads, and these are the options. Paid upfront real estate platforms or paid lead generation services. Now, I sometimes do ads. I do not use any real estate platforms, okay? But I do use paid lead generation services. And you know why? Because I'm a beast at converting leads, which is what I want to make sure that all you guys are too. I have no problem paying for this kind of stuff because it's cheaper than paying for this kind of stuff because I have confidence in my conversion skills.
What
So-
is your conversion rate?
I would say I probably convert at least 80% of my leads when I go on
You
appointments.
mean your appointments, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as
4
far
out of 5
as
you
this,
convert.
as far as all my stats, I don't have that ready for you guys here today, but I have extreme confidence nowhere anybody ever. Right? And do I get them all? I'm sure. No, I don't. But can I remember the last time I didn't get one? No, I can't. So, and it's because of our lead conversion system that we teach, the Goldilocks lead conversion system. It will give you extreme confidence. And when you have extreme confidence, you don't really care who else is there. You can almost predict what those people are going to do as well. And you can zig when they zag. How do I say it? I zig when they zag. One of those things. Okay. So the point being, I like that because I'm busy. Okay. And I know I can convert them. So I can spend $400 a month on a paid lead generation service, right? You use ZBuyer, don't you, Neil?
Yes.
And how do you feel that goes for you?
Good.
You know, You have to call them. You know, that's the thing, is that when these are not necessarily attached to any type of CRM and drip. But I have those leads go into my follow-up box. So you can put those in to your CRM and you can set up a drip. But some paid lead generation services come with a CRM and they want to coach you and give you a bunch of training how to use their CRM. I don't like that because it just costs more money. So I'm like, just give me the lead. Let me do my own thing with it. And if I want to put it in my CRM, you know, and keep it in there because it's a good lead, then I will. What was that, Matt?
Seller, lead generation online, you know, a lot of the buyers.
Yeah.
Like Zillow,
I mean, Zillow has Zillow Flex that I think's a seller thing. You know, a lot of these leads are, I mean, I use ZBuyer as well, a lot of seller leads there. You'll have to just go through the list. iSpeed to lead. You guys might want to check that out if you're investor friendly. That is where you buy the leads as they show up. Okay. And just look through all these different, this I think is more seller lead driven.
Say the name of it.
Offers, right?
Have you used all of them?
I have not used all of them. No. I use ZBuyer mostly. But it's competitive. Because there's other people getting those leads and it's speed to lead, right? So I have a full-time VA that calls all my leads. So they call all, I don't have to do, I just have to, once it shows up. So that's the thing about that, is that you might get quite a few leads. You can pick how many leads based on your budget too. They probably have a minimum. But if you feel confident at converting, I highly recommend you add that into your flow. Okay. Because it's leads immediately. You know, I could probably look at my phone and count up how many I probably get, you know, I probably get 30 leads a month. Okay. But they're all nurture, you know, some of them are nurture. I get a lot of appointments and some of them, I only spend, like $500 a month or something. Yeah.
But it's really said it's a speed to lead thing.
And some of them are crap, you know what I mean? So they're not all great leads. Of course, the more you spend, the more better leads you get. Play it close lead generation resources. Now we're talking about pay at close. That was pay up front. So I'm burning through my money, you know, however many months it takes for me to get in the, you know, it could take, sometimes you get a lead and they're not going to close for, you know, 4 months or something like that, because you got to get their home ready. So I'm paying this money the entire time, plus my VA to answer all this and so forth. So pay at close lead generation resources, that's when you get to get the lead up front and you pay your 30 to 50% when it closes. The problem a little bit with these is that a lot of these programs require some experience to qualify, to sign up for them. OpCity, a lot of you guys probably know about OpCity. A lot of people start with OpCity, I think. My information is those are Realtor.com's reject leads that they, you know, but I know somebody, Lisa Ray, built her entire, she's an icon agent, meaning she's top of the line agent. She built her entire business off OpCity. You get the kind of the crappy leads, kind of take the good with the bad. You guys all should look into signing up for pay at close lead generation resources because they're today leads. Okay. Today leads, and you don't have to pay for them. And you're just paying 30% or something when it closes. You will pick probably like a zip code or things like that.
Is that the same as I get text messages saying like, we're looking for agents in the area to give leads to, we'll get like a 15% referral fee.
I don't know, check them out. I mean, anybody that says you can pay me at closing, as long as you're not spending any money, what the hell? Well,
The challenge is, I mean, talk with them because a lot of them have their setup fees.
Yeah.
And then you actually don't get leads. Yeah. So watch.
My experience is overpromise, under delivering on these. Yeah, but if you hassle them and talk to manager or whatever, over time, they may actually start to fulfill some promises.
I think in the beginning, like I said, you're gonna take the good with the bad, right? And you have to work the leads like any other lead, right? You might not get them on the first try. You're gonna call them, you're gonna go through the follow-up system like any other lead. But they are today leads, right? Today leads. And you're gonna be able to have a conversation and hopefully set that appointment. I get in-person appointments all the time. Sometimes I get just phone appointments, right? But then I convert those to
Is most of your business on the market or off the market?
on
On,
and off, right? So, both, basically.
So how do you actually, great question. How do you actually define that question as far as on versus off? How do you define?
Well,
that?
for example, you know, what I just closed something that was off market. So that means that it didn't,
There's no
it didn't run,
MLS number.
it didn't run through the MLS at all.
Yeah, almost
but you gotta
all of this
report it to
starts
the
on market, right?
No, I
Except
think
for-
what his question is, do you close it without listing it, right? Without somebody listing it, you've done a transaction that was not listed for
Yeah.
sale, that was not sourced through the MLS.
There's obviously a lot of exit strategies to the buyers and sellers, yeah.
Right.
And sometimes that's an exit strategy is an off market, sometimes it's an on market thing, based on what we just said, right?
Right. So you might want to check into Rocket Homes, because it has a high, it gets a lot of, traffic, web traffic. Okay, but the problem with Rocket Homes is you gotta have, 2 years of experience and close 5 deals in the last 12 months. A lot of you in the room, probably that fits, okay? You wanna check out a Stately, Home Light. I work with somebody that sends me Home Light leads, right? Home Light has all kinds of things you should check out. They have all kinds of programs that you should check out. But again, these are somebody else generating the leads and sending them to you. That means that it's a today lead. All leads will always require follow-up. Here's some others. Agent Pronto, Upnest. You know, there is a wave and a new wave. Actually, Ken in our VIP community called me and said, hey, my guys, I have some guys that have a startup and they're looking to refer, you know, their leads. It's a pay at close deal. Okay. And I'm like, great, bringing it to me so I can bring it to you guys. I'm going to be having a Zoom meeting with these guys next week. And he's telling me about it. And I go, what's the model? He goes, well, it's pay at close, but their MO is discount brokerage, meaning they give rebates. Where's approval? Right? You do a lot of business where the people are expecting rebates, right? What does that look like for you? What does that mean? Talking about rebates. Don't want to do business with a broker that won't give them a rebate of what'd you say it was? 1% or a flat number?
Yeah.
Right. But those people that you see doing that, are they doing a high volume because they're getting all the business or not? Yeah. Right. Right. These are expensive homes, you know, that this is happening on. So these guys calling me through Kin are out of San Francisco and they're doing this in California. And it's just that. I think we're going to start seeing a wave of discount brokers that'll be pay at close and they'll do all the work. They're going to have everything automated and they're going to want to pay you a flat number, like $4,000 or something like that. I'll find out what these guys, I don't like it because I don't want to sell us out at all. But I'm not going to stick my head in the sand about it and get all pissed off because it is the wave of the future. It's going to start happening with all the AI and all the automation. There's going to be direct home buying. In fact, I own all the domains for direct home buying. I bought those up years ago because I could see this starting to happen. But you can decide for yourself. I might say I don't want to do it, but you guys might say you want to participate in something like that. And why would we do that? Why would somebody accept less, right? Depending on their workload. Because when you have a lead, when you're the listing agent or a buyer's agent and you have a buyer, leads are anchors to generate more leads. So sure, you'll make whatever you make, but now you actually have an excuse to make, which we're going to talk about, warm calls to generate more leads on which you get 100% of the commission on for yourself, right? Fly Homes charges $5,000. There's also Prop Shop, which is real heavy on the east side, and they do a bunch of rebates. So we're going to have to deal with the rebates, and maybe we can talk about on another day, we can talk about scripts on how to get around that. But what's happening is it's becoming sort of a community mentality, like for these types of buyers and sellers too, right? There's a herd mentality of, well, that's what my friends got, so that's what I'm going to get. Somebody will do it for me. So we have to figure our way through that. We're not. I don't even think you can prove your value. What do you think, Apuva? It is all about the number.
Sure. Well, then it comes down to you get what you pay for, right? And you can't give them as much VIP treatment as you do in other clients.
I heard somebody say this today, and I thought it was a good line. If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Right? Yeah. So, it's uphill battle a little bit there. But there's going to be a lot more pay it close companies that are going to be set up like that. And we can talk about later whether that's worth it or not, or how do we work that to our advantage, right? Having a line in every stream, right? You're not generating the lead. I wouldn't worry about it, Kiana, because it's very segmented. It's not a blanket thing that's taking over. It's happening in certain areas, maybe like Sammamish or some of the east side, it's not a blanket statement. There's always going to be room for the regular old stuff. Don't get mindset messed up on it. Go ahead, Roddy. Well, ladies first, sorry.
I was talking to other previous friends of mine who are, they were talking about the same thing. They're like, you be ready. People are going to ask you for discounts and they may want the rebates and all that stuff. So in the beginning, I thought, it is a cultural thing. I know Indians do that a lot. Then I thought, would I do that? I questioned myself. And then I went to Ty's class and I decided to set up my bar. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be that example because I am putting my value out in the beginning. If I started doing that thing with a discounted price, guess what? I will feel more comfortable getting more clients that way. I don't want to put that
in your mindset. Yeah.
So I thought, I told myself I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very upfront and tell them, go find someone else. Because I'm here to basically advocate myself in the beginning. And if I'm creating my brand, the brand has to be something that I like.
True this. But remember, if you know where that is in that community or whatever, right? Then you do have a choice to not focus all your efforts just generating leads in that. You're putting yourself in the position, you can easily spread your wings and generate leads elsewise by these things we're talking about, pay it close, we're doing your own marketing. You're not gonna, don't engulf yourself, don't put yourself in the bubble where that's all that's gonna happen, is my point. And then I'll also devil's advocate you on that. Maybe it's okay to do that once in a while, because why do you think so? Because why? Huh?
More.
Yes. Don't look at it as that's my payday. Look at it as that's my anchor.
Especially if you're trying to get those first deals under your belt, so you want, you know, like to pad your resume, like I've sold some houses. Like they're not asking you what your paycheck was on those houses. They want to know that you actually done some deals. So you may have to take first deal,
Yeah.
get them done, and then you can, you know, then you can raise the bar a little bit higher.
Totally with you on standing your ground on your, that's how I do it. I have like a service menu, right? Well, if you want to pay this, I don't, Joanna is the master of being plugged into, you know, what's going on in the real estate world, what everybody's talking about. Her guy that she follows, this guy, Dan Beer, I'm going to steal it. He said, they said, what do you charge? Oh, we know we can't talk about, commissions amounts, right? We call them apples. How many apples do you get paid? And he said, I get paid the most that's available on every transaction, right? The most that's available. Me, I'm always, you know, moving and shaking, because I might get whatever, however many apples, but I'm going to have to maybe spend some of those apples on part of that process, right? So if I'm spending some of the apples and I end up with a couple apples where I thought I was going to have more because I had to spend some money, that might look the same as not doing as much service and getting those same apples, right? If there is no, I would caution you from drawing a hard line in the sand, and more so build your business around, you know, you'll see the anchor system, as well as, like Melanie said, if you need to get a few deals done, you know, you're going to get a 20% raise once you get those deals done. So there's maybe some sense in doing that.
You can kind of change your mindset, you know, doing things as part of your training and education. And often, you know, training and education costs money. Getting a transaction, maybe you didn't make it, you make a whole lot, but you know.
There's all kinds of
actually made
reasons.
some money instead of having to dish it out.
But yes, discount brokers suck. Boo, 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 but can be useful. Okay, let's jump into this, because today, this is where the script's coming in today. So, what I wanted to talk about and focus on is, we know there's all these other ways to generate leads, and they can take varying degrees of time, right? We talked about how, you know, pay up front is a today lead. And I mean a today lead means have a conversation with somebody that you didn't generate yourself, and then you have to go through your normal follow-up and conversion process, right? It's fast leads into your system, into your follow-up system. Another, what I like, if you don't want to spend any money, is we have something I just made it up. We call it the VIP no cost lead generation system. And it is whenever you have a buyer lead or a seller lead, or even if you go on an appointment, like a listing appointment, and you lost it. Let's say you didn't even secure the lead, right? That is still, you still have the opportunity to generate leads for yourself, because you have information that somebody's actually selling their property. Okay. So every time you have a buyer lead or a seller lead, or you lose a listing, we can generate way more leads off using the buyer or the seller or the lost listing as an anchor. Okay. I want to stop here and say, people will be like, ugh, well, how do I even get a buyer lead? How do I even get a seller lead? That's the initial problem, right? It sounds all good, Julie, I can do all that stuff, but how do I even get one in the first place? Here's the thing. You should be networking with each other. For example, I have a listing coming up, great listing in the Skyway area, beautiful house, 3 bedrooms, 1 3/4 baths on the, 1.5 story, and below is a full brand new apartment. It's gorgeous. I think you can even build another unit there if you wanted to force it, right? And it's in the 98178 zip code. I'm busy. I don't have time. I'm not going to do this. Somebody in my world, networking with the other brokers and collaborating with my community, somebody else can take my lead, my listing, and do this. It's okay with me, okay? It's okay with me. You guys need to be talking to each other and teaming up, right? Maybe you don't like making calls or something. You could team up with another agent in your little pod, create a little pod. But I'm telling you, every time there's a buyer lead or a seller lead, you should process, okay? So here's what we're gonna do when we have a buyer lead as our anchor. We're gonna call all the canceled and expired listing agents. Kiana, you're the one that did this most recently that I know of. And how many leads did you generate at that point? 20 leads, just because she followed this system, okay? Buyer, canceled, and expires, call the listing agent. So I have a buyer. I'm like, hey, Joanna, what's up? To Clark EXP Realty. Hey, remember that house that you had over there on Northeast 8th Street? That expired, you know, in 2023? Is that so you could re-up that one? Now, Joanna's gonna love me because I'm calling to give her an opportunity to generate some business for herself. I'm calling her because that expired would be a decent match potentially for the buyer that I have, right? Why wouldn't you call the seller yourself? You definitely can do that, okay? But I find calling the agents does a couple things, right? It is a lot faster to get the answers and a lot more information quickly, rather than spending a lot of time skip tracing and doing all this other stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
So my mind is about. Here.
Well, you need to get over it because you're basically just calling somebody up. They're gonna freaking love you.
No, I don't mean collaborate.
You're not collaborating. You're not collaborating with them. You're representing a buyer and you're calling them because they represented that was canceled or expired. Oh, Kiana is having reservations about, I'm talking to Zoom people. What up, Zoomies? That collaborating with another agent. I mean, in our community. You know what I mean? I don't mean like, I mean, it could be anybody, but I mean, you're doing that right now, actually. And you know, whatever the situation is a situation, but you guys could, you know, look around the room, you know, or work with your friends, you know, like Gordon likes to ski. Maybe we do stuff together. Shane and I talk every day, right? So find people that are like-minded or that you want to enjoy a friendship with. And if you don't like, you know, making calls or you want to, you don't have enough time to like rock this for yourself on all your buyer leads or seller leads, then get with somebody else and let them do it, right? Work together.
You're talking about this example, having a buyer in like a specific buyer, not just calling generally so much, but having something of value to offer in the form of a buyer.
Yes, I am going to be talking about generally as well, but right now this is a system. I have a buyer lead. First thing I'm going to do is be like, what's my buyer want? I'm going to be looking, I'm going to show them the houses, right? Then I'm like, sure, there's nothing available. What am I going to, well, let me check all the canceled and expireds, you know? And then I'm going to be like, hey, Joanna, what's up? Julie from XP. Hey, I have a buyer. Remember that, you know, remember that listing that you had that canceled or expired over on Northeast 8th? I have a buyer that would be a perfect match for potentially, right? Do you think that seller's still, you know, they reconsidered selling? What's the plan going on over there? Oh my God, let me call them. They're going to be very happy you called, right? They're going to be your buddy. Now you've made a friend of another agent. What else are you working on? Right?
That's
Make sure
the key question.
that's a key question. What else are you working on?
What do you need?
What do you
Then
need?
You go and
right?
find the buyer for, you know, or the seller.
Because they're
that
like, oh, you know, I've got a buyer need myself. I've got a buyer that's looking in whatever, you know, Renton. Well, guess what? You might just have a seller lead off market. You do good lead generation. You know, you can start matchmaking and putting those deals together, you know, cross-selling. You should always be asking the other agents, how's it going? What are you working on? We're gathering information. You're always gathering information because information creates anchors to do more business on or off the market. Okay, everybody wants to do business. One of the things that I ask agents when I'm talking to them is, do you ever work off market? Do you ever do off market transactions? And if they are favorable, like, oh yeah, I do them. I do, some of you might say I do them a lot, you know, or it's a, you know, I do 20% of my business off market. Then you know they're going to be a good agent to, you know, that you can stay in touch with. If somebody says, you know, I never do that, I don't even understand, I don't think we're supposed to do that, then you're not, you're going to want to stay away from them.
Can you, like, I know it's not the topic, but briefly touch on how to do that without violating like MLS rules? Because I feel like, at least for me, I'll just be candid, I feel like I don't understand that great one. And
Of how to do an off-market
yeah,
deal?
off market, because like can't advertise off market.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you even let someone know you have an off market deal?
Isn't he talking about if you already have a contract to list, you haven't listed yet, but you have a contract to list, is that maybe what he's speaking to?
like,
Well,
I
if you have a
find- I find
listing, you're not
FSBOs
allowed to market that listing.
Like I find FSBOs, and I'll just be candid, I got in trouble. I'm currently like wrote up a response to Northwest MLS. So I found a FSBO and I said, hey, here's a FSBO opportunity. I like renegotiated with them.
When you did that, I mean, we're going down side tangent here, but when you did that, how did you do that?
Well, I just said, hey, it looks like your property's for sale. If I can bring you X, Y, and Z, would you be interested in selling under those terms? And they said, yeah, absolutely. Go find that person. So then I put those terms online and said, hey, I'm looking
That's
to
your
buy,
problem.
I'm looking to buy or broker this. I'm
Right.
not representing the seller. So I thought if you're representing the buy side, you're in.
Well, that would be your argument.
Yeah.
You would want to say, I don't even have a listing agreement signed. I was marketing for a buyer. I'm not representing the seller.
Right.
Let's talk more about that and see where that goes,
Okay.
right? Because I
wanna know
recently,
what happens.
huh?
I wanna know. What
Yeah, I recently arm wrestled with the Northwest MLS when somebody filed a complaint on me for something, and I'm like, you know what? I know I can change this back. So I just argued with them for a month so I could
Yeah.
keep what I wanted going on. And then I was like, after they said, hey, last try, we're not going to give you a fine. I said, you know what? You're not going to fine me because we're having a professional discussion here, back and forth, right? I respect you, you respect me. So we can have this discussion without the threat of fines. And they were like, okay. And I dragged it out for a month. And then they said, okay, you got to change it now. And I said, okay. And I never got fined. But let's go back to this and we'll talk more on that. Okay. And that's part of the Goldilocks, our buyer direct program. So we have a buyer direct program, which is a lead conversion tactic. And I have a for sale by owner program, as I guess I'll call it. Right. So every Tuesday I host this Goldilocks lead conversion system training. Okay. And it's basically meant to respond to all the most common types of stalls, objections, requirements that sellers have, including for sale by owner, including I want to sell my property off market. I don't want to list it. You should start coming to that because I'm not going to go deep on that today. It's every Tuesday. So now we know, as Kiana had proven before, that she even generated 20 leads. You had 20 agents say, yeah, my seller would be considered selling, right? Okay. And then what I would do is I'd be taking that conversation further, like, well, when are you guys going to be coming on the market?
Well, most of them on some. What terms do you want to offer?
Well, you should be calling the ones that you actually really think are, you know, a fit for your buyer. Right? You're not just calling up canceled and expired listing agents that you don't have a buyer for, because the system is you have a buyer, you know what they want. You see canceled and expired listings that might be a match. You call up that agent and you say, hey, I got a buyer that's interested in this neighborhood at this price point, 4-bedroom house. This one looks good. I can see all the pictures. I know the price might be a little bit different now, but it seems like it would be in their price range if they reconsidered selling. Can you check in with them? Why are we doing that? Because it's a way to generate leads. Now they say, what if somebody says, yeah, go ahead.
What they usually say, okay, well, what do you want to offer?
Yeah. You say, well, let me, I don't know. Do we have an opportunity to get in the house? I mean, we're actually trying to bring a buyer. This isn't like, you know,
I get stuck.
Yes, so I guess what I'm saying is, when we have a buyer, call with a real buyer. Okay, call with a real buyer, really that they might have interest, right? You could send your client, you could make yourself look like a rock star to your buyer client, like, you know, hey, Melanie, check these out. These are homes that were canceled and expired in the last 2 years, whatever. Do any of these neighborhoods, and you know, they're gonna be a little bit different price points, but are this location and this type of house of interest to you? Right now, they're like, boy, Kiana's really going beyond the, you know, thing for me. So just show it to them. And if they say no, then don't call. If they say yes, then give them a call, right? But let's say they say, yeah, actually, this could happen. Actually, we're actually coming back on the market in January, or we'll be back on the market in February, right? So you had a buyer lead, you called canceled and expired for your buyer. They say, yep, we are coming back on the market in January, February, whatever, this summer, whatever. What do you have? What happened? You have information about a home that's going to be sold. You're not the, right? That, you know what you could do? You could get on the horn, pull all the high sell score people in the neighborhood, call them up. Hey, Jim, this is Kiana, local broker over here in Renton. Sorry to bug you on a Saturday. Sorry to bug you during the Mariners game. Hey, the only reason I'm calling is that there's a home that's going to be coming up for sale in your neighborhood in like February. And as part of the process, when we have this information, we like to give the neighbors and the local, you know, an opportunity to buy first. Maybe you want to make sure when you're talking to that agent, you say, would you guys accept an early offer? Like, would you accept an off-market offer early? A lot of times they're going to say, yes, we'd be open to that. If you have a buyer, bring it. So now you started with your own buyer lead, you called the other agents, they said, yeah, we're listing in February, in fact. You're like, now I have another anchor. Now I'm going to call all the neighbors and be like, hey, sale in your neighborhood in the next, you know, 2 months in February. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. Have you guys thought about upsizing, or have you guys thought about downsizing? Do you have any friends or family members that want a neighborhood? They'd be willing to offer before they get to February, right? It can be flexible. It can be off market. You see what I'm saying? Leads and information are an excuse free to generate more leads. I'm telling you, if you do this, you will crush it. It's a system, right? Well, you're not the listing agent. I would be giving not all the information. I'd be saying, hey, it's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. You know, it's about a block away from you guys. These are the characteristics. I think it's going to be in the $900,000 range, maybe 900 to $1 million. Is that something that you guys would consider? Or do you have a friend, family member, or a coworker even that's looking? You know, this is what we specialize in. We love to give people off-market opportunities, and we love to give the neighbors and the people in the community, you know, potentially first crack at these. Not everybody wants to list their home for sale, right? They don't want to sell it at a discount. Okay. They don't want to sell it at a discount, but they're willing to accept an off-market offer. How do I know that? Because I asked the agent.
But just maybe from my experience, also just apply a little bit of caution here. You send that information out to, maybe don't blanket it everywhere.
You're not sending it. There's the difference. This is where we're having the separation. I'm not sending the information anywhere.
Over the phone, telling someone about it.
I mean, I'm not posting it anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm making a phone call.
Yeah.
Right? It's not my listing. I'm just aware that there's a house coming for sale in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I'm calling the neighbors saying, hey, guess what? House is coming up for sale in your neighborhood. You guys thought about upsizing, downsizing? Because they're willing to accept an off-market offer, consider one.
So the medium of advertising matters. Phone call
If you're
versus-
the listing agent, if I was the listing agent, right? And that's where it matters. I just have piece of information.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not the listing agent. If you're the listing agent, you are not allowed to pre-market your listing.
Can we back a little bit? Did you get this information from the soon-to-be listing agent?
Yes.
So aren't you kind of going behind their back, or do you get, you know?
Why do I? I
You're
mean,
coming in as the buyer agent,
I'm not-
you're not
yeah.
coming in as the selling agent.
But you're marketing, he.
He
You
has
see,
the
sorry.
same opportunity, he
They,
has the same opportunity
it's pre-marketing.
for them, maybe,
If they have a listing agreement in place,
right?
if they don't have a listing agreement
Yeah,
yet,
this is under the idea that there's a listing agreement in place. Not a listing.
But it's not mine.
I know,
Yeah.
but he. No.
You're saying that,
Did you get
if that.
he said they're willing to entertain an offer early.
Yeah. That's the key.
Okay,
Maybe that's the key.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's what we're going off. of,
Yeah.
That's part of
If
it.
they say no, wait till it's listed, then you wait till it's listed.
Okay, that's part of the postulate.
Or you don't, and you say, hey, they're gonna list in February.
Let's get you ready.
Yeah, maybe there's a buy before you sell opportunity here, right? Maybe there's a, you know, they wanna list it, you guys, heads up, you wanna start thinking about it, cause then what do you have? Now you have, they're like, yeah, we actually do need to upsize our home in that neighborhood, now what do you have? Another lead, because they're gonna sell.
They're gonna get ready to list their house, so they're ready to buy the other one when it comes up.
It's using your information to generate more leads. Let's talk, if you guys are hung up on this, where are you hung up on it? They said that we would accept an early offer, sure. So I'm just calling in the neighborhood saying, hey.
Yeah.
Go ahead, no, let's do it, cause it's good.
Well, I guess more just to run this, you know, gamut in the initial premise here of bringing a buyer, right? If you do that, contact the soon-to-be listing agent,
Uh-huh.
that, hey, you were sharing this information, and you got a buyer for them.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have a
Yes,
buyer
they're gonna be
agency
okay with it,
agreement,
because part of the premise is they said they'd be willing to.
accept an
Yeah,
early offer.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Go ahead.
Wondered about physical calling, I was asking you. But, like, let's say, I mean, would you almost say if you live in the area or frequented it or whatnot, would you just walk through?
You could.
Is there a better strategy to call, somehow pay for phone calls or?
It's whatever you wanna do. If you wanna door knock, you can door knock, right?
Mailers.
Yeah. I mean, mailers cost
Um,
money.
Isn't mailers, well, never mind.
I
It's
probably,
more
I would not be doing
talking.
mailers in this
Yeah.
scenario.
From anything
In this scenario, I would just be skip tracing, like a high self-score type of list of neighborhood people. Or I might just start calling people in the neighborhood, skip tracing, and, you know, if it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, maybe I'll call the 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Hey, you guys thinking about upsizing? Heads up, something's coming up in your neighborhood, right? What do you think about that, Kevin?
I mean, I have no objection to it, I'm just, you know.
What's it? What's shy?
Yeah.
But you
Again-
had it in writing, that site,
Right, but
and blasted it out.
of advertising it. The phone calls advertising.
If you're talking to, if you
one
are
on one
doing
is
your own
fine.
lead generation and you are talking to potential clients, you're not advertising something.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm.
No, you
accusing-
posted
You
it on
said it
social
out,
media.
you never posted it.
I posted on a Facebook page.
Yeah,
the
that's the
But I'm
problem.
looking for a buyer. I have no agency agreement.
That's where I'll say, let's you and me
Yeah,
get
I still
together.
think you will be okay, but you were advertising.
No, I mean, we need to flush that out together. I'll have you
I'm
with
not
MLS.
trying to distract. you.
Yeah, because I don't know what that rule is on, you're like, I think somebody reported you
Correct.
because they were not understanding what you were doing.
Yes,
You should
it's
be
just an
fine.
allegation, it's not a-
Yeah,
You should be fine.
you guys follow what we're saying? So what we're talking about, Zoomies, is that Kevin had a for sale by owner. And he wasn't going to list it for that owner, but he took the information and he put it on Facebook group. That said, I'm looking for a buyer who'd like to buy this deal. To me, that's super risky. Maybe he didn't put the address or anything. Yeah,
I didn't have it in writing.
you know, but and somebody reported him to the MLS and they're talking to him about that. So we're gonna work together to see if we can settle it where it shouldn't be an issue, okay?
But do you guys see the power of how many leads did we generate? We went and found a buyer or a home for our buyer to potentially buy off canceled and expired, right? We learned maybe that they're having a listing coming up instead on that house, right? And that they're open to early offers, you know? Now what we do? We just got a lead, an anchor, right? That we can now make more calls. Now we're making calls to the neighbors. And we now generated a lead for ourselves because that neighbor says, yeah, actually, we were thinking about selling. Doesn't matter if they say, oh, that's gonna be too soon for us. Well, when you know, that's where you start the conversation. Well, what's your timeline that you're actually thinking about, right? And you go into that type of conversation, okay? Yep.
Just want to make sure I understand. So if you had a potential buyer and you found a seller that says that they're gonna be selling their home in February, and this buyer.
Because the agent told you that.
Right.
Scenario.
And this potential buyer was interested in the seller's house,
Mhm.
would you still call around to all the other neighbors, let them know that potential buyer is interested?
If that buyer was gonna take action immediately, we're gonna start trying, I would wait.
Okay.
Because I don't wanna, I don't
For your own
wanna,
buyer.
Right.
yeah, have that home get sold and, I mean, I'll flush that out first.
Right, okay.
Right? Yeah. And then that would just be an off-market transaction, you'd have your buyer's agency agreement like normal. And the listing agent would use a Form 47 seller representation agreement instead of their listing paper, and all the rest is the same. And then the rules are that if you do an off-market transaction, you have to report it to the MLS within 3 days of it closing. And you just have to have a picture of the exterior. Okay? So now what else we're gonna do? We know we're gonna do that. We know we're gonna, and we're calling, you can call the sellers yourself if you want. But I find, you know, I'm gonna get more information. Now I'm asking that agent, what else are you working on? Right? And then they're gonna say, oh, I got a buyer that's looking for this. We haven't been able to find something. Well, maybe in our community, somebody has that. Maybe you have that in your leads. And now you're able to match up, you know, we're just matching up. We're flowing, we're weaving, we're doing the Donald, what do you call it? Weave? Weave?
I just have to ask.
With the dance.
So when I'm doing this, I'm working with the buyer and buyer. So is it okay to send them the list of canceled and expired? That I can provide to the buyers before talking to the listing agent?
Yeah. If you have your buyer's agency agreement signed.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You wanna make sure you do.
You mentioned that you can match up to people, but what is your benefit? How are you going to pay?
How am I getting paid in that sort of situation? I could get a referral fee, I guess I would say. Or,
Seller?
well, we're going down, let me get further down the talk here. So we can go down, we're gonna get too far off the tangent here. So the other thing I would do if I had a buyer lead is I'd call all the active listing agents in the area, right? So let's say there's a listing, I have a buyer that wants to be in Roseville and Kirkland or something. And there's a bunch of listings that are in the same price point, or maybe not even, maybe it's within 20% of my buyer is willing to pay $1 million. Maybe this is a $1.2 million listing, or maybe it's a $800,000 listing. Okay, maybe a 20% swing up and down on, I'm looking now for listed properties. I could call up that agent and be like, hey, Gordon, what's up? Julie Clark here, eXp Realty. Hey, the reason I'm calling today is, congrats on your listing, by the way, right? I actually have a buyer that's looking to get in that neighborhood. Their price point is a little bit higher, a little bit lower, whatever it is, or maybe they want a 3-2, whatever they want, right? And while you're at your open house, let me feed you an opportunity to get a deal done maybe. Okay, I have a buyer looking for this. You're gonna have neighbors coming in and other people who are going to be looking to sell their home, right? As we both know, sometimes people would love to sell their home off market for full market price, no discounts or anything like that, or maybe you can get a listing out of it. But I'm in need of this. If you have any people that come into the open house, see if you can secure that seller lead. I'll bring my buyer lead. We'll do a deal together. have a listing coming up that matches, you know, and I just know that there's a listing coming up. Maybe I'm gonna be able to make an early offer. Right? Well, hey, will you take an early offer? Okay, will you take an early offer on that listing? You guys see what we're doing here? You and me. You're with me. I'm with you. You and me. There's me. Okay. And what else am I gonna say while I'm talking to that agent? Awesome. They're gonna be like, oh, cool, thanks. I'm gonna say, hey, any chance I can do an open house over there? Right? And yeah, I'll do it on a Wednesday even. I don't care what day of the week it is. Why? Because when I'm doing an open house, that's another anchor and another excuse for me to make calls. So I don't care if I do open houses. It's, to me, of course, I want to have people come into the open house, right? But I don't care if I'm doing an open house on Wednesday, Thursday. You know, I probably don't do them on Monday, Tuesdays, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, after you've done one, because now I can say, hey, I'm headed over to this open house. I'm using that as another anchor. I'm all about anchoring, gathering information, okay, and then using it. And then I'll say to this agent, hey, what else are you working on? Like I said, now they tell me, oh, I got a listing coming up over and whatever. So I go, sometimes they'll share the details with you because agents just do that, right? Now you can just start, again, you can start calling in that neighborhood. You can follow this system, right? A post, that's more like Kevin's talking about. I have a buyer, and I have a need, and I can't find anything online, and the first couple things aren't working out. There's a guy, I don't know what, remember that guy? He posts all the time, Andrew or something like that. You guys have probably seen him on Wari. He's always posting his buyer's needs out there. That is such a great idea, right? Post your buyer needs out there. Why? Because people are going to call you up and they'll say, I have one. Oh, well, that's not a fit. Well, guess what you got then? Now you know about another one.
And what else are you working on?
Yeah, what else you got? Right? Gathering, just freaking squirreling this shit. Beep, 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 beep. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do.
Julie, do you have a system to keep all those leads organized?
That would be your CRM.
So you just,
Yeah.
you just stick them out, like, you can search them by address or like, what are you?
Whatever you guys, whatever works for you, CRM, yellow notepad, Excel, there is no right answer. It's whatever is you, that works for you, that you can keep track.
Is anyone using KV Core? The DXP?
KV Core.
I use KV.
Are you happy with?
I like
I'm
it.
just getting up and running on it. You like
I
it?
use Follow Up Boss. Okay. High sales score, warm calling in the area. The script you have in your hand, we'll do that last. When I have a buyer lead, okay, I want to sit open houses in the area because the neighbors are coming in, other people are coming in, right? That might be thinking about selling, that instead of letting that agent do it, I'll be like, hey, you mind if I sit open house over there? Can I do, you know, whatever time? I'll go, you know, if they're doing like 12 to 2, I'll do 2 to 4, I'll do 10 to 1, you know, something like that. Because I can match up my buyer needs with other people coming into the open house. The system, okay? And guess what? Does it have to, my buyer wants to buy a house for $1 million. Do I need to be sitting in a house that's $1 million? No. Right? Because people are going to come in that have more expensive homes and less expensive homes. So maybe I want to be just within, let's say, 20% of my price. Okay. Door knocking, you could always door knock, you know, like, hey, you know, I don't door knock very much, but you could door knock. And as you're door knocking, like, hey, I've got a buyer and you know, they're super qualified. We've been looking just for a little bit of time. I'm one of those agents that goes above and beyond. They really want to be in this neighborhood. Any chance that you considered selling, or maybe you know one of your neighbors have considered selling? Door knocking, right? In our VIP, what's the guy's name, Shang? Do you remember? In VIP, can somebody look it up? I posted that door knocking guy.
Oh, like Midas or Midas?
Midas. If you look, somebody look in our VIP Facebook community and search the word door knocking. So we can.
His name's like the Midas Touch, but I don't know.
The Midas Touch on, I guess it was Facebook. This guy is a full-time door knocker. His scripts are great, right? So he generates a lot of leads just door knocking, right? So I like to do warm door knocking. I don't like doing anything cold calling, cold door knocking. I don't like that. I like to do everything warm, where I'm not calling necessarily to ask you for something. I'm calling to offer you something, right? In this case, I'd be saying, hey, I got a buyer and they're willing to pay full market price, right? And if you considered selling, maybe you can avoid the hassles and disruptions of listing for sale and save yourself some money. And we might be interested in making an offer on your home if you've thought about it, right? People don't necessarily want to list their home for sale, okay? A sales score warm calling in the area. Let's do that. Okay, this is a big high sales score script. Working with active buyer. Okay. So what you can do, again, you should be doing all this, maybe not door knocking if you don't want to, every time. Because it's going to generate you leads that you're not paying any splits on. You're not paying it close. You're not having to pay monthly for it, right? It's warm activity. It's not cold activity, it's warm activity. So here is the high sales score. High sales score means if you go into Realist, does everybody know what Realist is? Okay, it's a platform within the Northwest MLS that all agents have access to. It's a database of all the properties, in Washington State and across the country, right? Also, title companies. Title companies have what they'll call hot movers lists. These are all these companies like Realist and the title companies. They collect all these behavioral alerts from buyers and sellers on whatever they're doing online and their data and the stats, and they compile it into something they call a hot movers list or
Predictive analytics.
it's predictive analytics, a high sales score. Okay, I call it high sales score because I use Realist to do it. I use Realist because I can do it whenever I want. I don't have to ask my title company and wait for them to send something to me. Although if you're at like Typor Title or some of these others, they have programs that you could go to one of their classes. They have classes all the time and you can use their database and pull yourself a list. Okay. I use the Northwest MLS Realist because it's easy, it's there. And it's all downloadable, sortable. I'm not going to go into training you all how to do that today, but there are webinars. I'll post one in VIP so you can see how to do that. It's not difficult. So if I had a buyer, okay, I'm working with an active buyer. I'm going to put a high sales score. They rank them in a Realist. If you scroll about 2/3 down the page, from 0 to 1,000 as far as their sales score. I've been doing this for so long. I'm like, is this bullshit or how are they good at it or not? Right. And I'll tell you, I check all my leads. I always look at their sales score to see if Realist is on track or on point. Right. Meaning to me, anything with a 700 sales score or higher, okay, means they have a high sales score. They're more likely to be willing to sell or thinking about selling. So if I'm going to be doing this, do I just want to call every random person in the neighborhood or do I want to use my time efficiently? I want to use my time efficiently. So I'm going to focus my calling on the high sales score, most likely to sell people first, right? And I might do something like this, okay? So I have a buyer. I'll be like, ring, ring, ring. Hi, is this Jim? Always make sure when you're looking at the information that you know the guy's name is Jim and the wife's Patty. So in case a woman answers, you're like, hey, is this Patty? Or if it's, you know both names, okay? So I'll say, hi, is this Jim? I always use all seller names I talk about called Jim, just so you guys know. Seller says, yes, who's this? Hi, Jim, my name is Julie. I'm a local broker here in Kirkland. Sorry to bug you. So I never say, this is Julie Clark with EXP Realty. Okay, never. I say, because it's too much, too many words. You can't, they want to hang up maybe. Hi, Jim, my name is Julie. I also say I'm a local broker or a local agent if I'm calling somebody in Renton, I say I'm a local agent in Renton. I'm calling somebody in Mercer Island, I'm a local agent here in Mercer Island. Okay, a match to wherever they live. Hey, Jim, my name's Julie. I'm a local real estate broker in Kirkland. Hey, sorry to bug you at dinner time or sorry to bug you during the Mariners game, whatever. Hey, real quick, the only reason I'm calling only. Reason I'm calling is because your home over there on Southeast 10th, you still own that one, right? Little disrupt, right? Yep, that's my primary residence, Jim says. Great, so the only reason I'm calling is because your home over there on Southeast 10th falls within the size and location that would be a potential match for a buyer that I am house hunting for. So I'm just making a few calls in your neighborhood area to see if anyone would consider an off-market full price offer on their home. Plus, of course, the extra benefit of a simpler and more hassle-free selling process. Any chance you'd consider selling your home sometime this year, Jim? Okay. I want to make sure that you guys, I'm using that word only. Go ahead. If I don't have a buyer, I wouldn't be doing this. I have a buyer lead. Or, right, I'm like, hey, I have a buyer lead that I'm working on. I'm going to be showing them all my MLS listed properties or whatever. But hey, guys, I'm busy. Who wants to take my buyer lead and do this? That's called a collaborative community of what VIP is all about, right? We're not all going to have time to do all this because I'm generating pay at close leads as well. So I'm happy to work with you guys and spread the love. And so is, I'm sure, Ty, right? And other people who have leads, we're willing to let you guys use our leads to run this system. If you're not doing this yourself, Ty, would you let, you know, Kiana or somebody do this if you're not going to do it? Of course. Right? Right. Competition equals confidence here. So, you know, competition. No
But to
problem.
that point, if you don't have a buyer lead, you should probably not do this strategy.
If you don't, this is a buyer lead anchor. This is called a warm call. This isn't, we're doing this because we actually have a buyer lead. We're trying to use our leads to generate more leads is the whole point. This is an anchor system, right? And so I'm saying, hey, the only reason I'm calling is, you know, like I said, you guys can read it here. Your house on Southeast 10th falls within the size and location that would be a potential match for a buyer that I'm house hunting for. Or I might say for a family that I'm house hunting for, or for a nice buyer couple. I mean, there's a little bit of fair housing-y kind of weird stuff there, right? But whatever's comfortable for you that I'm house hunting for. So I'm making a few calls in your neighborhood to see if anyone would consider an off-market full price. Say that, full price offer, plus, of course, the extra benefit. Why would they want to listen to you? Because you're offering them a huge bet. You're calling to offer them something. Hey, Jim, if you've considered selling, guess what? I might be potentially able to get you a full market price for your home off market. You might save some money. You're not going to have to sell at a discount. A lot of people like that option, Jim. So just call and see if that's something that you might consider. Jim says, I fucking love you, Julie. Yeah, to be honest. Actually, with these types of scripts, I do get people there saying, you know what? You are the most professional. I never get calls like this. They get the other kind of calls like, hey, you know, we're looking to buy homes in your area, click, right? People will compliment you on your professionalism with this approach because the mindset has to be you're going to offer them something, not ask them something. I'm offering you a full market price sale of your home without listing anybody doing it that way too, and avoid all the hassles and disruptions. Okay?
In this case, would the buyer fee commission or
All negotiable, right? I'm going to have a buyer's agency agreement. Of course, I'm going to write an offer, most likely asking the seller to contribute to that. Anything, it's all negotiable, right? Or maybe they split half and half. Who knows, right? All commissions are negotiable. Just part of the deal, right? Depends on what's going on over there. Seller says, I'm not selling. I say, hey, sounds good. No problem. Thanks for taking my call, Jim. Bye. That's it, right? If the seller engages in the conversation, you know, seller might say, I might be open to that because we're trying to move to be closer to our grandchildren, but we're not ready yet. Oh my God. Agent, I'm saying, understood, no problem. Well, in a perfect world, now I'm starting to convert them and get them in my pipeline, right? So I'm basically, the rest of these pages are giving you guys kind of like alternative things that'll happen, right? So understood, no problem, Jim. Well, in a perfect world, what do you think an ideal timeline would look like for you to move and be all settled in your next home? I don't know, maybe sometime later this year. Got it. Okay. You think that means 3 to 6 months from now, or like 6 to 9 months from now? You know, you're going to just continue to ask good questions from now so you can be able to get settled in before the holidays, right? Probably sometime this summer. Sounds good. Well, these particular buyers, because I'm calling with a buyer, right? These particular buyers I called you about are hoping to buy in the next few months, but let's do this. How about we keep in touch, because I have buyers looking for this location and size of home on a regular basis, willing to pay full market price. And so do the other brokers in my network. Now I've just opened it up, right? Then when you're ready, we can potentially offer you options to have a more stress-free selling process off market. Does that sound good? So I'm trying to leave my foot in the door there by saying, hey, you're going to want to talk to me when you're ready, because I am going to be able to offer you potentially a full price off market sale of your home without all the hassles and disruptions of listing. They're going to want to call you back, right? They're going to want to keep in touch with you. Yes, that's fine. Excellent. What's your best email? Blah, blah, blah. Agent. And I say, got it. Thank you. And hey, just thinking forward a bit, you already have a friend or family member who's going to help you list your home for sale when you're ready, if the timing of an off-market sale doesn't work out with one of our buyers, right? That's a subtle way of saying, do you have an agent that you're going to work with, right? That's my go-to line, right? You have a friend or family member that's going to help you get your home listed for sale. Remember, because I was calling because I have a buyer, but now I'm probing like, okay, am I going to have a chance to list this, right? You guys can read all this. No, I'll have to figure that out when we're ready. Okay, keep you on my radar then, and I'll plan to get you the information on the current market value of your home a bit further down the road. You guys can keep reading on this, but these are all, the point is, we are going to make warm calls to high sales score homeowners in the neighborhood using our buyer as an anchor to make a warm call. Are we asking them something, or are we offering them something? Totally on it today. Yeah, we're not asking them anything really. We're offering them something. You guys gotta understand, there's no reason to be nervous. These are warm calls because you're giving, not asking. If I'm a cold caller, looking for investment deals, I'm like, hey, have you considered selling your property? Click, ma'am. This is a whole different approach. What do you guys think? You guys get it? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna keep busting through because we have 10 minutes. Seller lead. Okay. That's right. You guys find this valuable? Is it opening your mindset, okay, on how to generate leads? If you don't want to do this, then you're going to be playing the long game or doing your networking, or you're going to be paying for those leads, close. If you don't have any experience yet to do pay at close, we should all be doing this, and we should all be letting each other do this if we're not going to do it, right? Why would I not let Melanie do this if I'm not going to do it for some reason because I'm busy doing it, and I am, right? Seller lead. Because you know why? Melanie might get a lead and I have another seller. Boom, we're just doing deals like crazy. Now we're using our sellers as a lead anchor. Okay. I'm going to call canceled and expired listing homeowners. What am I calling?
Because you're gonna have too many buyers coming through. And the house that you're selling is only gonna be good for one person, so all the other buyers may be looking for somewhere in that
I
neighborhood.
have to think about it for a minute.
I just told you.
You're calling the homeowners so you can list their home.
That's not my thought process on it, but I'll think of it. So pre-open house flyers and door knockings, of course, you have a seller lead, you're gonna go, put flyers out in the neighborhood, and you might do some door knocking before your open house, right? Oh, I know what I'm doing. Call canceled and expired listing homeowners. Do you want to hit it? I got it. I get my right hand. So the reason why I'm calling them myself, right? When I have a seller lead that I'm gonna do a listing on, right? I'm gonna say like, hey, this is the script here in your hand right here. Okay? When I have a seller lead, I'm gonna be calling canceled and expireds before my open house. Hey, is this Jim? Who's this? Hey, Jim, my name is Julie. I'm a local broker here in Kirkland. Hey, sorry to bug you at dinner time or during the Mariners game or whatever. Hey, the only reason I'm calling is because I'm headed over to do an open house over at, 1533 Southeast 8th Street, not too far from your home on Southeast 10th. Have you seen that one on Southeast 8th? Yeah, they say yes, no, it doesn't matter what they say. Well, hey, you're welcome to stop by and check it out. I feel like I'm gonna be there today from 12 to 2. Anyway, like I said, the only reason I'm calling is while, I'm expecting a great turnout from buyers at this open house. I also know this home won't be the right fit for everyone who stops by. And I noticed you'd offer your home for sale back in 2018. So I thought I'd give you a quick call, see if you had any renewed interest in selling now or anytime in 2025. If so, this is a great chance for me to send some of these potential buyers your way and give you the opportunity to sell what? Off market for full price, right? And avoid the hassles and disruptions of listing for sale. Have you reconsidered selling anytime in 2025, Jim? Right? You guys get it? Hey, Jim, I'm doing you a favor. I'm calling you up because I'm headed over here to Southeast 15th. You're still on Southeast 10th, right? Yeah, that's my primary residence. Well, hey, I'm calling. The only reason I'm calling is because I'm gonna be over here. There's gonna be a shitload of people in here looking at this house. Some are gonna be ready now, later. It's not gonna be a fit for everybody. I noticed your home for sale back in 2000, whatever. Have you reconsidered selling? Because man, I'd love to send some of these buyers your way and save you some money and the hassles and disruptions and get you a full market price if that's something you're up for. You know what, Julie? We have been talking about that. We're not gonna be ready right now. Now what do I have? Another lead. Okay, I'm either can represent a buyer, bring them to their house, or maybe I have a listing lead opportunity for later, right? What if I don't get the listing? Oh, we already hired an agent. What happens? Oh,
When are you going?
how much are you going to list your house for? Oh, it's going to be $1 million. Great. When are you guys coming on? I might have some buyers for that. Oh, we're going to come on in February and we're going to probably list around $1 million. Now what am I going to do? Beep. I lost that listing lead. So now I'm going to call all the neighbors, be like, hey, what's up? This is Julie. Heads up. There's a home coming up for sale in your neighborhood. Generates more leads. Leads are everywhere. Right? What do you think, Kevin? Oh my God. So, if they say no, you're like, hey, no problem. Others like, right. No, hey, we're going to stay here until we die. Oh, great. Hey, thanks, Jim.
Do you know your probate attorney's name?
Yeah.
Teasing.
Yeah. Thanks for your time. If they respond yes. Actually, we've been discussing selling and moving to be near our grandchildren in Arizona, but I need to talk to my wife about it. I need to think more about it. Hey, that sounds great. Then you're going to try and connect with them. Hey, my parents moved up here from California because they're moving to Arizona to see their grandchildren. I'm like, then you're going to connect with them. Oh yeah, my parents did the same thing. My girls would say, how old are your grandchildren? Yap, yap, yap. Whatever they say. The concept, try to have a human conversation. That's fun, Jim. So what would be the plan if you moved to Arizona? Would you buy, here we go, see? Would you buy a new home down there or move in with your family? Oh, we're going to buy a new home in Arizona. Now I have a referral for agents in Arizona, right? Oh, okay. Would you buy a smaller home? We probably buy a smaller home near our son or daughter. It sounds great. Would you be able to buy a home down there or in Monroe or wherever you're moving before you sell this one so you can move straight in? Or would you need to sell your current home first? Goldilocks buy before you sell program. Okay. Once they say that, which you guys need to show up for on Tuesdays. You can read the rest of these scripts, right? I'm kind of giving you alternatives and you can make up your own. But the idea is the concept of we have a seller lead. We're going to call cancels and expireds, right? On our way to the open house. What's up? I'm going to be over here. You listen to blah, blah, blah. We're going to do pre-open house flyers. I like to do a flyer. And on the back, I write neighbor only invitation, neighbor only open house. Is it a neighbor only open house? No, it's not a neighbor only open house, but I put it on the back of the flyer. 5 to 7 on Friday nights, neighbor only, all the neighbors come, because I think it's a neighbor only party. Okay? You're gonna sit open houses in the area, gonna generate more leads for you. You're gonna have a high sales score, open house calling script. So just like we called on this one because they were canceled and expired, we're gonna have our high sales score script that says something similar, right? Okay, all these scripts are gonna be in Google Drive for you guys. Pending, oh, once I have a seller lead and I have a pending, oh, and sales pending, it's another excuse for me to make a warm call. Hey, Jim, Julie over here at XP Realty, you probably saw that I listed that home over on Southeast States around the corner. You guys still have that one in Southeast? Yeah, well, we just knocked it out of the park over here on Southeast 8, right? And before everybody else knows, we're kind of letting the neighbors know how much it's sold for because it'll impact your home value, right?
If your seller gives you approval to talk, right?
If your seller gives you approval to talk about it, or you could wait till it's closed. And you could say, hey, we just sold this home, right? You could drop off flyers, you could offer a free home valuation, right? Door knock. Door knocking would be great in this situation, maybe. Hey, that would be a great time once you've sold the property to door knock and be like, hey, what's up? Hey, we just closed this one over here. Just wanted to let the neighbors know what we got for this house if we didn't see it. And then you're gonna watch, what is he called, Shane? The Midas touch?
Nidus.
Nidus, N-I-D-S or something, the Nidus touch. This guy's a door knocking guy. He has a great script for door knocking, the Nidus touch, where he gets a bunch of home evaluations going, okay? Generating leads, and we already talked about the lost listing leads, right? You miss out, not with buyers, but with sellers. Try to get the details, call the neighbors, warm calling, right? All high skill, hey, guess what? There's a home coming up for sale. I would focus probably first on, like if it's a 4-bedroom, I'd call all the 3 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. Right? Makes sense why I'm calling, right? Just thinking, you guys thought about upsizing? Or have you guys thought about downsizing? Right? If it's a smaller home. Giving, not asking, giving. And then just gathering the intelligence and the big circle. Leads generate, once you get a lead in somewhere in this flow, if it's a buyer or a seller, you just go frickin' do it again. Right?
And finished at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. And I just want to say for the record, to wrap it up, Rodney, what's up, Rodney? Beep. He and I are rolling out some lead generation. It's his system. He is the man. And it'll be a pay at close lead generation system that we have in-house. For VIP agents only, but we're not going to give leads to people that we don't think convert leads. Okay, so that means that you have to show up and learn our Goldilocks lead conversion system. So we know when we give you leads that you can actually convert them because it takes time and money. Huh?
Bribery.
It's free. It's free. So there's no bribery. Okay. But yes.
If your income source is them closing so that you get paid at close, you want them to build a close.
Yeah, right. Plus, I do want to force you guys to learn our lead generation system because it is awesome. It'll give you extreme confidence to tackle any lead. It'll make you look super professional. And we aren't going to go that today because it's 1 o'clock. But if everybody for a second can do this for me, please, because you owe me now that I gave you all this information. Go and search on Google for Modern Agent Mastermind on meetup.com.
Just go to meetup.com.
Either way you want to do it. And make sure you become a member of that meetup community so you can get the reminders and access to the Zoom link for that Tuesday, 2 to 3 p.m. meeting that happens every single week, right? And we are going to be rolling it out as a formal coaching program. And like I said, everybody at VIP is going to get it for free. You can get all the documents, our workbook and our playbook and all that stuff. But time is of the essence, so start coming now, learning.
I am taking anybody who wants to go preview 3 houses. We're gonna go preview houses. Whether you're a new agent and you wanna learn how to preview houses, whether you're in fast cap and you know you're supposed to be previewing 5 houses a week and you're trying to get some houses done. Or you just wanna create some social media content. Julie's gonna come with us to the first one. Give us her ninja tip of what she looks at when she previews a house. The first thing we're gonna look at is Shane's listing.
Shang!
Anything you want us to know about it, Shane, before we head over there?
Yeah, it's a great house.
Great house, sell, find me a buyer. Your anchor, find a buyer.
See if I, or what is it?
He keeps texting
Where
me.
is
so he's
located
engaged.
roughly?
They're all within like a mile and a half of right here.
What's up, guys?
So super close.
Thanks for listening.
It's on the Facebook group, the 3 houses. But if you want me to text them to you, I can, but it's, you know, organized for my mentees so that I can train them how to view houses, but we're also.
Awesome, Rami. Can't wait to meet you in person.
How to look at luxury houses.
Call me anytime. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Rami, I'm gonna put my number in the chat. Put my number in the chat for you guys in case you guys get a hot lead. Help you convert it. Now that you know how to get hot leads, we'll make sure you know how to convert those leads. All right, guys, I'm signing off. Hey, one last thing, everybody. Last thing. Matt, think yes or no? Okay. Don't forget, you guys, we have our holiday party on Friday. Is that 12? Is that 12? 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. on this Friday. We are going to be doing a bunch of silly awards. You guys are all welcome to come. Right?
All the cool kids will be there.
Bunch of silly awards, doing silly stuff. Matt's gonna give us a little info at that holiday